السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. محاضرتنا بعنوان The Nucleus Part 2. The main objectives for this lecture are: identify the nuclear matrix, list the components of the nuclear matrix, define the chromatin and distinguish between the types of chromatin, define the sex chromatin, and study the structure and distribution of sex chromatin. The nuclear matrix, also called nucleoplasm, is a semi-fluid matrix that fills the space between chromatin and nucleolus within the nucleus. It is composed mainly of proteins, metabolites, and ions. In addition to this component, the nuclear matrix is composed of nuclear lamina of the nuclear envelope, which is now considered as a part for nuclear matrix. The nuclear lamina is this dense network of protein filaments that underlies the inner nuclear membranes. إذن بالإضافة إلى المواد الأيضية والبروتينات والأيونات، نلاحظ أن النيوكلير لامينا اعتبرت كمكون رابع إلى نيوكلير ماتريكس، واللي هي عبارة عن شبكة كثيفة من الخيوط البروتينية واللي دائما تكون بمحاذاة الانر nuclear membrane. Nuclear matrix composed of two parts. These are nuclear lamina، هذا اللي يظهر باللون الجوزي هو nuclear lamina، اللي هي عبارة عن dense network of protein filaments that underlies the inner nuclear membrane. مثل ما تلاحظون تكون بمحاذاة الانر nuclear membrane، وتعتبر هي جزء من النيوكلير ماتريكس. بالإضافة إلى هذه المنطقة نلاحظ أنه بالسنتر يوجد internal matrix proteins اللي هو عبارة عن fibers and granules structure اللي تشكل السنتر of the matrix of the nucleus. What are the functions of nuclear matrix? The nuclear matrix has a structural role in the cell, where it is responsible for maintaining the shape of the nucleus, in addition to the organization of chromatin. نلاحظ أن وظيفة النيوكلير ماتريكس يساهم في المحافظة على شكل النيوكليوس، وأيضا يساهم في تنظيم مادة الكروماتين. Also, it is participate in several cellular processes, such as DNA replication, gene expression, cell signaling and differentiation. وأيضا يساهم في العديد من الفعاليات الخلوية مثل تكرار DNA بالتعبير الجيني بعمليات التمايز. The nucleus contains loosely coiled fibers called chromatin that disperse throughout the nucleus. The chromatin is a coiled strand of nucleic acids DNA bound to basic proteins called histones. إذن خيوط الكروماتين هي عبارة عن نيوكليك أسيد DNA ترتبط مع بروتينات أساسية واللي تدعى بالهيستونز. What is the function of histone? The histone plays a role in regulation of DNA function. What is the structure of chromatin? The chromatin composed of repeating unit of a small particle called nucleosome, which composed of core of a protein called histone that surrounded by double-stranded DNA helix. إذا مثل ما تلاحظون إنه مادة الكروماتين تتألف من repeating unit من وحدات متكررة اللي نطلق عليها نيوكليوسوم، اللي تتألف من بروتين هيستون surrounded by DNA that arrange as double helix. What is the structure of nucleosome? The nucleosome consists of 147 base pair of DNA that is wrapped around set of 8 histone that called octamer. إذا جزيئة النيوكليوسوم اللي تتألف من شريط ال DNA اللي يحوي على 147 زوج قاعدي اللي يلتف حول 8 جزيئات من الهستون واللي نطلق عليها الأوكتامير. The nucleosome composed of double-stranded DNA helix and basic protein called histones. These are nucleosomes, where these nucleosomes are more folded around an axis to form chromatin fibers. لما تلتف النيوكليوسوم حول محورها تكون chromatin fiber, where then more condenses for the chromatin fiber to form then chromosome. وعندما تتكثف وتلتف الكروماتين فايبر يتكون بالشكل النهائي الكروموسوم. What is the role of chromatin? The role of chromatin in DNA replication, DNA transcription, DNA repair, and cell division. There are two types of chromatins can be distinguished under electron microscope. These are heterochromatin, directly staining, and eochromatin, lightly staining. Heterochromatin or condensed or cold chromatin اللي يكون أكثر تكثف و coiled, and eochromatin or dispersed less coiled chromatin أقل التفاف ويكون متشتت. Eochromatin appears as electron-lucent area, lightly staining, دائما يظهر فاتح اللون. It appears as loose network of fine fibrils less coiled. الفيبرلز تكون أقل التفاف فلهذا يظهر lightly staining. It is visible as finely dispersed granular material. While heterochromatins appears as electron-dense area, directly staining, composed of coarse granules. بينما الهيتروكروماتين دائما يظهر غامق اللون نتيجة إنه يتألف من coarse granules نتيجة more coiled فلهذا يظهر directly staining, where the chromatin fold upon itself to form highly condensed structure that called heterochromatin. What is the function of eochromatin? The eochromatin is metabolically active, which play an important role in transmission of genetic information and in protein synthesis. إذن الإيوكروماتين هو اللي يكون أكثر فعالية اللي يلعب دور في انتقال المعلومات الوراثية وفي عملية بناء البروتين. What is the function of heterochromatin? The heterochromatin is metabolically inert. It could be involved in cytoskeletal function. The distribution of condensed chromatin or heterochromatin includes 3 locations. These are marginal chromatin, karyosome, and nuclear associated chromatin. Marginal chromatin. It is forming thin peripheral layer which lines the inner nuclear envelope. أول نوع من الهيتروكروماتين اللي سميناه marginal chromatin اللي يظهر بشكل طبقة رقيقة جدا طرفية دائما تكون بمحاذاة inner nuclear envelope. Karyosome. It forms patches that scatter in the nucleoplasm. النوع الثاني من الهيتروكروماتين اللي يظهر بشكل بقع متبعثرة في النيوكليير ماتريكس. Nuclear associated chromatin. It is found as rim condensed chromatin in association with nucleolus النوع الثالث من الكروماتين يظهر بشكل كروماتين متكثف، يكون يشكل حافة تحيط النيوكليولس أو النواة. The chromatin DNA is a major form of DNA in the cell that carry most of the genetic information. إذا المادة الوراثية اللي موجودة في الخلايا تكون بشكل كروماتين DNA. Within the chromatin, there are sites of RNA synthesis. هناك مواقع لبناء أنواع ال RNA اللي تشمل messenger RNA, ribosomal RNA, and transfer RNA. The amount of euchromatin and heterochromatin usually indication of the metabolic activity of the cell. The nucleoprotein of chromatin is coiled, and the degree of coiling varies during cell activity. The cells with light nuclei with few heterochromatin clumps, these are more active, where more DNA surface available for transcription of genetic information, while the cells with darkly nucleus, the coiling of DNA makes less surface available, therefore less active. Which cell is more active, cell with dark nucleus or cell with light nucleus? Sex chromatin. Human male somatic cells have 46 chromosomes that arrange in 23 chromosome pairs. 22 pairs are autosomes, and one pair is 6 chromosomes, X and Y. In female, 22 pairs of autosomes and 2 X chromosomes. إذن في الفيميل هناك 22 زوج من الكروموسومات اللي تكون أوتوسوم جسمية، وزوج يكون 6 chromosome XX. One X chromosome is extremely heterochromatin and forms a visible tightly coiled mass called bar body. إذن نوع أو أحد كروموسومات يكون بالكامل هو عبارة عن هيتروكروماتين، ونعرف إن الهيتروكروماتين coiled condensed، فلهذا يكون visible mass اللي نسميها bar body. Whereas the other X chromosome is uncoiled and not visible. In male, 22 pairs of autosomes and one pair of 6 chromosomes is X and Y. The X chromosome is uncoiled. Therefore, no sex chromatin is visible, no heterochromatin found. So, bar body not found in male. The bar body appears clearly in the nuclei of epithelial cells, which appear as small granules directly staining that attached to the nuclear envelope. هذه nuclei or nucleus of epithelial cells. Bar body found in the nuclei of squamous epithelial cells that lining the internal surface of the cheek or buccal cavity. These squamous cells and this nucleus, this bar body that attached to the nuclear envelope of the nucleus of epithelial cells. The bar body appears clearly in the blood smear also, in which the sex chromatin appear as drumstick-like structure that attached to the nuclei of neutrophils of leukocyte. إذن هذه هي كريات الدم البيض neutrophils اللي نسميها الخلايا العدلة أو المتعادلة، واللي تكون فيها نيوكليوس مالتي لوبد متعددة الفصوص. فنلاحظ السكس كروماتين بهذا الشكل مثل عصا الطبل. The shape of drumstick structure composed of head and stalk that attached to the nucleus. Nucleus of neutrophil multi-looped may be composed of 2 loops, 3, may be reached to 5 loops. The sex chromatin that appears as a drumstick-like structure attached to the nuclei not found in the neutrophil leukocyte of the male. This is leukocyte of male, not found drumstick or bar body in the nuclei of its cells. These are different leukocytes from male and female. This neutrophils of female, which found drumstick-like structure that attached to the nucleus of neutrophil. Also this female cells, which found drumstick structure that attached to the nucleus of the female, while this cells is neutrophil in male, which not found sex chromatin or bar body or drumstick, not found on the surface of this nucleus. The bar body found in all somatic cells of a human. False. While the bar body found in all somatic cells of female. This is true. The study of sex chromatin has wide application in medicine because it permits determination of genetic sex in doubtful cases. إذن sex chromatin دراسته لها تطبيقات كثيرة في الطب وخصوصا في حالات تحديد الجنس والحالات المشكوك بها. Sex chromatin is essential for the study of the anomalies that include Klinefelter syndrome, XXY chromosomes, and Turner syndrome, XO chromosomes. The light points for this lecture: the chromatin is called strand of repeating units of nucleosome that compose of DNA and protein called histone. There are 2 types of chromatin: chromatin that is dispersed, that play a role in transmission of genetic information and protein synthesis; heterochromatin, condensed chromatin, or coiled chromatin that metabolically inert. It could be involved in cytoskeletal functions. Bar body is a small visible mass in the nucleus. Due to one chromosome is female cells is extremely heterochromatin, while this is not found in male cells. Thank you for listening.